7:51 and time for News Extra, brought to you by Pinnacle Bank. Mitchell and Torrington, the way banking should be. Here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you, Dennis. Good morning, everyone. Lonnie Dickson is here from Hanna Keelan Consulting Group out of Lincoln. They have just finished a 3-county regional housing study for the Western Nebraska Economic Development Group. It involves Scotts Bluff, Morrill, and Kimball counties. They've taken several months to do this, interviewed a number of people, citizens, employers, a number of folks to determine what our housing needs are, and they're finding out we need hundreds of homes built in the next 5 years. How you doing, Lonnie?
I'm great. And yourself?
Good. All right, before we get into the true specifics, one question. You guys looked at this and looked at it as far as 3 different needs for us as far as types of housing, right?
You're correct. We did look at the needs for basically existing residents of the community that,
right,
for one reason or another, want the ability to seek out a different housing unit for their families, if you will. They want to expand, they want to downsize, but for one reason or another, stay in the cities that they're at, but wanted options for another household.
Yeah. And then maybe for people coming in, right?
Housing for new people coming in as maybe new hires and things of that regard, or even people that want to retire and come from the rural areas into the communities specifically. They're attracted to available health care, to shopping, and friends and family that they've made over time too.
Yeah.
Community out from the rural areas into the communities.
And rentals as well.
Exactly.
Okay. And you guys discovered that over the next 5 years, we need in these 3 counties to construct 777 units in order to get where we should be, which is a 6 to 8% vacancy rate, right?
You're correct. And we find that communities don't have that, what we refer to as a healthy vacancy rate. There's a vacancy deficiency. There's a lack of homes to purchase. There's a lack of apartments and homes to rent. And in that scenario, you tend to retain new hires, new employees to the community, but they and their families look at becoming a commuter population, living in potentially another community within an hour's commute time, those types of things. But again, losing that population base or growing potentially a population base by those persons and families living in other communities and taking their incomes to other communities and not leaving them here in the communities that they work in.
Okay, and these units were both owner and rentals. 625 units they're projecting in Scotts Bluff we should build over the next 5 years, 60 in Morrill, 92 in Kimball. Kimball has absolutely, I mean, we were talking about it, Kimball County has a total lack of housing, right?
Well, they've been through several years of, building and utilizing their resources for their existing residents and populations. Their business has been growing incrementally too, but they've gotten to the point where a lot of the vacant land within their corporate limits is built out with residential, commercial, industrial, parks and recreation. And now they're in a scenario by which when they have opportunities to grow, that they need more employees, they need more options for housing, that they're in a scenario whereby they have to look beyond their corporate limits and designate lands for future growth and development for residential types of housing. We completed a housing study. We completed a community-specific housing study as well as a comprehensive plan in their community. So getting all their planning documents up to speed and being able to address their future needs. And that was a 10-year focus specifically with Kimball that we worked on. But this project is, in fact, a regional-wide housing needs analysis.
That's the thing.
And what that does, it allows partnerships to be formed by communities, by the 3 county areas, and the Western Nebraska Economic Development Group that was the foundation for this 3 county-wide study are, in fact, an organization that we've advocated that they create a permanent arm of their organization for specifically working on housing needs in the 3 county area.
Yeah, it'd be like a Western Nebraska housing unit where they could list places that are available, and just the three counties together work on establishing some vacancies, right?
Right. And one of the components that has grown out of this completed study now, through the goals and action steps, through the 5-year action plan, is the need for that permanent organization to work on housing on a daily basis. They are challenged to, promote the economic development opportunities in the 3-county area, but also to recruit, if not available, the adequate number of contractors and developers to work on housing needs throughout the 3-county area. Giving opportunities for those existing businesses that are in the 3-county area to potentially focus more efforts on the huger need, not for the moderate to upper income housing that's typically they're spending most of their resources on building housing on contract, but specifically to start focusing more on the efforts of the 100,000 to 150,000 segment for workforce families, for persons and retirees that want more affordable housing options in that income category. And we're finding that a lot of communities are lacking that window of housing needs in that more moderate range, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. We'll pause here briefly and then be right back.
Secure your peace of mind with Pinnacle Bank's new checking account, the Diamond Secure account. With it, you'll get all the great features of our checking accounts, along with identity theft protection and cellular telephone protection. For complete details of this checking account, speak with the bank representative. Open a new Diamond Secure account in branch or at wypinbank.com. To switch your current checking account, visit your local branch in Mitchell or Torrington. Pinnacle Bank, member FDIC. Insurance products are not insured by FDIC or any federal government agency. Not a deposit of or guaranteed by the bank or any bank affiliate.
Back on News Extra, we're talking to Lonnie Dickson with Hanna Keelan, who have just, consultants out of Lincoln, just presented a big regional housing study to the Western Nebraska Economic Development Group, showing we need well over 700 housing units for those 3 counties over the next 5 years. They're talking about a Western Nebraska housing unit created by the Economic Development Group to begin bringing in contractors and having contractors here start these housing units to make sure we have some vacancies available for people. What you'd like to see is housing going on in all 3 counties at the same time, so contractors are kept busy not only here, but Kimball, Morrill County as well, right?
Definitely. This study is focusing on partnerships. Partnerships not just of organizations that are looking to work more aggressively on housing needs, but also partnerships between public and private different organizations. Major employers need to work together to ensure that there's housing available for their employees over the next 5 years. And we're finding that in a lot of other communities, as an example, some of those major employers are even creating, say, a limited liability corporation to work together to provide down payment assistance, things of that regard for their employees, and working together on a regional basis of the 3-county area in Western Nebraska provides the opportunity to recruit, if not sufficient numbers of existing contractors and developers exist in the 3-county area, potentially to use the housing study as an economic development recruitment tool to attract some housing developers, contractors to work on segments that's not currently being addressed. Again, that workforce population housing in the $130,000, $150,000 range, but making it attractive potentially for their crews and things of that regard, that they can work on a certain number of housing units in each of the 3-county area and seeing a holistic development of housing over time in that 3-county area for persons in the populations, and not specifically, as an example, just coming and working on one housing development project in one community and then going away to another different community, part of the state, or even in Colorado, things of that nature. So.
Okay. All right, very interesting housing study. Again, it's a Hanna Keelan study. You can get this on your website, is that right?
It's in the process. The group has the ability to read it and make final edits, but I would say within the next month you're going to start seeing it as a link on city websites, county websites, organizational websites, things of that regard, so that persons in the public can click on those links and bring up either the summary document, which is referred to as a snapshot, or the full housing study, which is a much thicker read, if you will.
All right, very good. All right, we're running out of time. Well, matter of fact, we're way over time, but thanks, Lonnie. Appreciate you coming in. All right, back to you, Dan.
Your trusted voice for news, KNEB, Scotts Bluff, Gearing, 960 AM, and now on 100.3 FM.
Ships back to Chicago.